less than the cost of a lunch, and you still don't take action and you still don't join. Isn't that Darwinism? Isn't that what I said at the beginning of this podcast? The universe gives everybody exactly what they deserve. Aren't the people who end up replaced by machines eating the bugs the people who deserve it because they simply didn't try when they had a chance? And the people who understood what was coming and saw the horde, the AI machines, the Terminators, and felt the appropriate fear, took action?
Do you believe, though, that we're shown everything ahead of time in the movies that we're shown, right? You've seen that thesis, right?
I've never seen that thesis, no.
Well, there was a movie I watched once called In Time. I remember watching it when I was younger, right? And it's all about how these people have these like AI time things in their wrist, and and they get turned off if they don't compete for the amount of time, and they can't.
Welcome on into another episode of the Healthy Discussion Show. I said I was going to react to this part 2, Andrew Tate and Frankie Lee. So let's get into it. Hopefully everyone is having a wonderful day. Hit the bell notifications, subscribe to the channel. That's all I ask. Also, you have the AirTag EMF protector. I put it at the top of the chat. It's pinned to the top of the chat. So that's how you support this platform. On that note, let's continue the show.
You know what I'm saying? There's more people with more time. And that's kind of, I don't see it actually physically in this real world right now, but I see it playing out on a longer time frame.
Yeah.
Like in terms of like, iRobot as well. Another one. Everything that Elon's building, it's all played out in iRobot,
well,
isn't
100%.
it? So it's like, even when I looked at the last Tesla share meeting when they were talking about the car.
Pause. Let's talk about AI for a second, right? I think AI will take over humanity, right? And in a way that I believe that you yourself, you have to learn how to use this platform. Because if you don't know how to use it and incorporate it in your business or whatever you're doing, your daily routine, your lifestyle, whatever you plan on doing in this world, you can get to your goal 10 times as faster if you use AI, if you use an avatar. I use it often, right? If you use technology, right, you can get to your goals 10 times as faster than you doing it the traditional way. So I believe that AI is here to stay. That's why I like crypto. That's why I like AI developments and everything along that nature. I'm gonna leave you guys a list of some AI companies, especially side note, right? The reason why you must pay attention to AI, because Willow, which is Google, just came out with a quantum computer chip. For the first time, we have a quantum computer or the first phase of it, right? The name of it is called Willow, WILLOW. I'm going to do a video on that as well. Now, the reason why I say pay attention to these things, because not financial advice, but I noticed that quantum computing is going to be the thing of the future, and it's going to be here for at least 10, 20, beyond our lifetime, 30, 40, 50 years, 60 years, right? And I'm saying it all to say, if you know what's to come, you can put your money in a place where your money can actually grow exponentially. So for this 2025 year, not financial advice, right? But I know for me, what I'll be having on my stock portfolios are quantum computer stocks. I'm going to send you guys a list of it. I will post it on my I'll post it for you guys so you guys could, not financial advice, so you guys can do your own research, and then you can allocate your funds accordingly to whatever that you have, even if your dollar cost averaging, right? So this AI thing, all I'm saying is that AI, quantum computing, is here to stay. Once you figure out that nuance, you will be richer than tomorrow than you were today. On that note, hit that like button.
And the robots walking around, that was all just like watching iRobot again.
Yep.
So in order to get you to buy in, they have to, for karmic debt, they have to show you ahead of time what's happening.
Yep.
Right. And then you have to accept that that's happening.
Yep.
In order for you them to be free of karmic retribution on what they're putting into this world. Right.
That's true.
So what have you seen that you've seen in this world that we're talking about right now that is coming down the track that you're seeing that's going to be here in the next 5 years that you've seen ahead of time that we're being complicit in?
Well, I think we're complicit in everything. I actually like to believe the good guys are winning again, and that a lot of this insanity from the liberal left that was being pushed is going to be replaced. I like to believe the good guys are winning again. However, the AI argument is a very interesting one, and it's one that we can't escape. I know what you're saying about it being iRobot. You're right. It's just the future. You have to leverage yourself against that. You have to choose the battles you can win. I think every human does this instinctually. You have to look at the battlefield and decide which fights can you win, which fights can you not win. And if you can't win the fight, what's the best thing you can do?
Right.
So can I win the fight against liberal insanity? I believe I can, which is why I talk against it. And the reason I believe I can is because I'm speaking to every person's base instincts. Even people who don't like me know that I am right. Reality proves me right in the end. I am talking biological realities against liberal insanities. I can win that.
Right.
Can I outcompete AI and convince people not to use machines? No. So the only thing I can do is then learn how to use AI to benefit me also. That's the game. You have two choices when you look at a chessboard. You either change the rules of the game, like I tried to do when I'm competing against liberal insanity, or I accept the rules of the game, like I do with the AI argument, and say, what is the best move I can make within the confines? So if AI is coming for us, which it is, if AI is the future, which it is, if people will become useless eaters and be put into camps and be assassinated, which they will be, what is the best move I can possibly make within those confines, within that rule set? Well, I believe the best thing I can do is remain important, learn how to use AI, and become financially wealthy. So that's what I'm going to do. I really talk from a position of knowledge when I say that the wealthy banking industries and the wealthy banking cartels and families that own the world hate the average man. And I'll tell you why. Because I sit here right now as someone who came from a Luton council estate.
Pause. I tell people don't be average, always be above average, because average isn't worth it. It wasn't worth it yesterday. It's not going to be worth it today. What you don't know going to come to hurt you in the future. What you don't know how to use, right, will come to hinder you in the future. So don't think you know everything, right? Try to figure everything out. Try to figure as much, solve as much, or come up with as much solutions as possible to any problems that you have, right? Because that's just the way of life. What you solve today, you may run into another hurdle or another point that you will have to then conquer, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. That actually gives life purpose and it gives life meaning, right? So
who's only been rich for 10 years. And I hate the average man. If you're the kind of person who's exceptionally hard on themselves and never misses an opportunity, it's very hard to feel sorry for people who miss every opportunity they're given. Mm-hmm. Over time, eventually, you're like, you were told and you had chances and you didn't act. And those people you don't feel sorry for. Right. I'm talking about someone who's only been rich for 10 years. They go, oh, it'll be fine. And they're going to lose their job in 3 years to AI. And they'll be like, oh, what happened to me? I'm so unfortunate. You're not unfortunate. You were told. You were warned. You didn't take action. Refused to act. That's how I think. Imagine how a banking dynasty views the average man. They've been born into wealth. They've been wealthy since the 1700s. They've never even seen the average man. Imagine how little care they have for you. That's why they inflate your currency and leave you to live amongst poverty and drugs. That's why they don't give a fuck about you. Facts. Because truthfully, when you're at a high enough echelon, you're living in a reality that's so devoid. My echelon is based on competence, and it's based on being so brutally hard on myself that I can't have sympathy for people who are not hard on themselves. I believe that they have the lives they deserve because they haven't been prepared to suffer like I've suffered. If I was as lazy and incompetent as these people, I'd be like them. Right. If someone said to me back when I was broke, you can learn how to make money online for $49 a month, I would have jumped at the chance. That's why I'm rich, because I'm that guy who takes every chance, who can't sit still when he's offered a chance. I must take it. These people, they're not triers.
But what chance was offered to you?
Well, this is exactly it. I didn't even have chances that good. I wish I did. I wish I had a...
Basically, in a nutshell, what he's saying is seize all opportunities, right? Because opportunities, it don't matter if you're ready for it, if you're not prepared for it, right? It's going to come right past you. It's going to blow right past you. So seize as many opportunities as you possibly can. Move forward, never move backwards. That's always been my motto. Always move forward, never move backwards in life, because there's no point, right? Let things go, move on. If you failed at something, try it again and or try something else, but keep going. Keep going. Don't stop. That's the point of it, right? And especially nowadays, I think like I'm on my phone making money just off trading or just off doing this or option calls or trading crypto or using leverage or making videos like I'm doing right now. It's 1,000 ways to add a zero. It is 1,000 ways to add a zero. So how many zeros do you plan on having? You determine that factor. Let me repeat. How many zeros how many zeros that you actually plan on having, you actually determine that factor. Right. So you got to put the work in. Right. Put the work in. Like I say, average, below average, getting paid 50,000, 60,000, 100,000 a year is nothing. It's absolutely nothing to what's going on in the world on today's platform, right? So you have to come up with other creative ways in order to create more cash flow for yourself, for your family, for your dynasty, for whatever you're trying to build, right? I'm in all agreement with Andrew Tate on this one.
Billionaire sitting on the internet explaining to me how the world worked and telling me I'll teach you how to make money for $49. I would have done anything for that. But I've never had that chance. I had to work them all out myself, take huge monumental risks, do the nearly impossible to escape. But it's easier now. I'm answering your question because it's easier to get rich now than it's ever been.
But when did you first come across that webcam business, which allowed you to make your initial money?
Well, that's the thing. It's so interesting because back then the idea of making money on the internet was alien to most of humanity. Now everyone understands you can make money online.
Mm-hmm.
And I've talked about the webcam company at length. And the reason I'm not avoiding talking about it, I'll talk about it, no problem. But back then, the chances and choices for making money online were so few and far between. Now I meet 18-year-olds who are millionaires.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, how did you get rich? Oh, I'm a streamer. I'm a YouTuber. I made money on crypto. I have a.
Why is everyone spiraling about YouTube banning ads?
He just gave you a few pointers right there. Like, it's true, right? You have the computer, you have the laptop. You can make millions of dollars just by sitting in your house, just by streaming, just by coming up with creative concepts. So it's actually no excuses nowadays. Absolutely none. But what I figured out is the mass is extremely lazy. What I mean extremely lazy, they're super lazy. So they want to get up to work out. But let's continue.
Drop shipping website. There's about 20 different ways an 18-year-old can get rich. When I was 18, you weren't rich. No one was rich. How can you be a rich 18-year-old self-made? You can't run a company. No one's going to respect you. You can't own a factory. You're 18. Everyone was broke. Now you have children rich.
This podcast is sponsored by contentremoval.com. If you're looking to remove any images, videos,
that if you use crypto and juxtapose it against AI, it's kind of amazing to me how more people are not using AI to get rich. Because let's imagine this. Let's do a thought experiment.
You can also use AI bots to trade for you. You can use it to trade in stocks. You can use it to sell. You can use it to market. You can use it for so many different things. I can actually create an AI right now of me, and y'all think that this is me talking right now, but it's actually an avatar. You can create different sleeves. You can do so many different things with it. You can teach it. Like, you literally have it download the books that you haven't read, the theories that you don't know about. You compound that, and then it becomes a supercomputer. You yourself, or the viewer yourself across the screen, can actually ask me a question, and you think that it's me, and it's not. Even with leads, even with sales, it's like so many things that you could do. They call people for you. They text people for you. They do email blasts for you, right? They add things to your calendar. They do posting for you. They do Instagram. They do marketing for you. You know? There's so many innovations that's coming out today. It's like every other day they come out with a new innovation. It's hard to keep up. They have something called Centra, right? And I'm not promoting them, meaning that I don't really get paid from Centra itself, right? But I'm saying it all to say, I give you the information. Centra is basically an AI bot. It's basically like you don't really need any employees. Right, it do the booking for you, it do the calling for you, it give you your research, it tell you when you low on this, when you low on that, what direction you need to go in, follow these steps. It's like 8 bots that's working for you. So that's 8 employees. That's just how I look at it. So use these tools because it's right in front of us. If you don't use it, you're going to lose it. That's what I was told.
Before crypto was big, 2008, before Bitcoin was a thing, if I tried to explain crypto to you and explain the opportunity it posed, it would be quite a hard grasp. You say, you can send money on the internet. You say, you can already send money on the internet. We have PayPal. No, but it's not dollars. It's this other coin. Yeah, but why does that matter? Oh, because they might ban you on the internet and you lose your banks. I'm not banned. I say whatever I want on Facebook. Like, it would have been hard to convince someone about crypto, Ethereum, wallets, cryptography, all of these things, central banking, gold. You have to talk about the gold-backed dollar and how it's now the fiat dollar, and Bretton Woods and Reagan and economics and inflation and global reserve currency. You have to know so much to understand Bitcoin. To try and convince that somebody back in 2008 would have been hard. But whereas AI is an easy sell. Everybody here at home understands what AI is going to do.
Right.
Everybody. And if you look at how crypto's taken over the world, which is 1,000 times more complicated to understand than AI, imagine how AI is going to affect the world. There's not a single person who can intelligently argue to me that AI is not going to come along and change our lives. Right. You could have argued to me in 2008 that crypto won't change a thing, that crypto doesn't matter. And look what happened. Now Bitcoin's 100,000. AI is going to be even bigger.
You actually predicted 88K years ago, actually. I saw that you did.
Yeah.
And then when it hit 88K the other day, I noticed that you were the one back in the day saying when it was at 19K, I think you predicted 88K.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's a clip out there. I've seen it. It was, and no one thought it was going to hit 88K.
I was saying the same thing too. You can look at my feed. You can go online, look at my YouTube, look at my post. And I've been saying it since it was at 19, 15,000, 22,000. I've been buying since then. God. But let's continue.
When you predicted that.
That's right.
I do caveat you for that.
Thank you. But this goes back into my mentality about the kind of person who takes risks and takes action. So then people will say to me, this is what's so amazing. People say to me, oh, how do you have all these big addies? How do you have $100 million of cars? You're so lucky. It's not luck. It's never been luck. I've been the person who took action. And if I were to tell you right now what action to take, you won't do it. So I'm not going to feel sorry for you when you fail.
Right.
I'm not going to feel sorry for losers.
But if you were to go back and say, look,
there's consensus in Congress.
And I feel him on that one. You can't save everyone. You give people the knowledge. I done told people, hey, buy this, buy that. Not financial advice, right? But look into it, right? Oh, I'll do it, or they did it. I no longer have that application anymore and no longer care. The money that I told you to invest in it, you look at it now, you've been sitting on cool 10, 20, 30 piece easily, right? I look at it like I see things before my time and I'm going to act upon it, right? Because I have faith. I see it. Some people may not understand what it is, and I totally get that, right? But it does, just because you don't understand. I look at the speculative market. Everything is in speculation right now. So mostly speculations, right, are coming to be true, especially in the crypto world, right? Because it's like people are tired of the fiat. And not only that, if you study money and you study history, it goes to show that money only lasts for 100 years. We're well past that. 2020 was a 100-year mark. So what do you think is happening now? Money is actually transitioning, right? Let's continue.
The life-changing money for me was made by what? Webcams?
Webcam made me some money at the beginning.
It gave you your step, right?
It gave me a step up.
It gave you your initial step, where you went from driving the BMW to being able to drive the Ferraris and stuff like that. Was managing women online, selling content and stuff like that.
Yeah,
that is what gave you your access to this.
Yeah.
So and whether that was right or wrong, that's another discussion. But at the end of the day, right, you took that opportunity to create your access, and what you're encouraging everyone to do that listens to this is to find what option they can have to close that gap and to take that fucking action.
Absolutely. I'm encouraging everybody who's watching this to understand that time is running out.
Mm-hmm.
The AI is going to come. The schism is going to be too large to jump over. That social mobility is something that is not going to last forever, that we're in a unique period of human time.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't want to listen to me, if you don't want to join the real world for $49 a month, then find something else to do, but do something.
Do you have any regrets about the way that you closed the gap?
No, absolutely none. Zero. Because what did I do? I helped women optimize their platforms on a website. I mean, I lived in Luton. I lived around people who were selling drugs. Jay-Z sold drugs. All the rappers sing about selling drugs and killing people. What did I do? Girls were already on the internet talking to men like they are right now on Twitch, on Kick, on all the streaming platforms in the world. They're all sitting there in a skimpy little top talking to men. And because I had better technical knowledge than them, and because I was pretty organized, could organize their accounts, I said, I'll make sure that your taxes are paid and I'll optimize your HTML profile. Does that make me a bad person? I mean, some people will say it does.
No.
And I could sit here and argue once again from all the different positions. What did I say about the triangle? We can sit here and talk about, are webcams bad for society? Well, yeah. I mean, you could argue that pornography is bad for society. You can also argue that the girls who worked for me saved men from suicide by just remembering their birthdays and talking to them for 12 hours when their family abandoned them.
See, no one talks about that part of it. No one talks about that part of it. They only highlight the negative part, right? And what do you think OnlyFans is and everything else along that nature now? That's 10 times more ridiculous than the program that he was trying to promote. Can we talk about it? But let's continue.
It's good and bad on all sides. The girls who worked for me became very rich. I became rich. They became rich. They saved a man from suicide, but perhaps it's bad for society as a whole to have all these young, pretty girls talking to men on the internet. They're all different perspectives. I saw an opportunity. I took it. I've taken 1,000 opportunities in my life. Every single time I saw a chance, I took it. When I saw a girl doing webcam and she said, I can't work out how to make my profile higher on the page. If it's higher on the page, I make more money. I said, I'll make your profile higher on the page. You do the webcam. We'll split some money. I've done that. I haven't hurt anybody. None of these girls have ever talked against me. My current criminal case has nothing to do with any of those girls. All of those girls are defending me. I have no negative connotations or negative memories with any of these women. What did I do? I turned women into millionaires. If you go work at McDonald's as a woman, do they make you a millionaire? Or do they take 99% of the money you take through the till? What did I do? So there's people who can sit and morally grandstand. There's people who can sit there and say, what Andrew did is wrong. But those are people who are just addicted to porn. Right. The people who stand online and talk about how I'm a bad person for what I did are the same person who will consume pornography. If it's so bad, why do you consume it? These girls and me wouldn't have had a business if you weren't watching it. The men who were upset by the fact that I had a business that had women online talking to men are the exact same men who are on these websites trying to convince these women to meet them for money. They're trying to solicit girls into prostitution.
Whoa.
And they're saying I'm the bad guy for setting up their HTML profiles. It's all false virtue. It's asinine. It's garbage. When anyone complains about the fact that I had a webcam business, if they've ever watched porn ever, which they have, they're full of shit. All these people are full of shit, and they're just morally grandstanding because they're insignificant. He
came up with a solution. There's nothing wrong with coming up with a solution. That's all I say. He's seen a problem. He came up with a solution. He used other people, which you have to do, right? And he used them in a rightful way because they made money off of it. Everyone made money, except the media is going to twist it and say, well, he forced these people to do this. All these women that he had on his team never encountered force a day in their life. But if you let the world tell it, if you let the media tell it, they're going to conscrew it because guess what? He was the first to do it.
Poor.
I see it from both sides of the perspective because my business is contentremoval.com. So we remove online content for celebrities, brands. We look after a lot of OnlyFans models. This is my business, right? Okay, I've been involved in this game since 2017. So family offices, everyone in between, right? Yep. I've seen it from the point of view where XYZ girl puts content online. And I've physically spoken to hundreds of these girls that after putting content online for a long enough period of time, they become they're very lost for themselves. There's a lot of emotional damage.
So they regret their decisions.
They regret their decisions. They feel some of them can feel, obviously they put blame on the OnlyFans managers that drove them to it. So
I don't agree with that novel. See, we have to start holding people accountable, especially women. Look, if you did something and you rightfully did something and you could not deal with the consequences, then what's the point of doing it? You wanted to expose yourself. You wasn't complaining when the money was good. The money probably dried up or guilt probably settled in. And now you want to point the finger. He made me do it. No, ma'am. You made you do it. You sound like an adolescent. You sound like a child. You made you do it. You wanted to keep your legs open 24 hours. You wanted to get paid for these things. You thought that was the way to be. You follow the mass. You thought that, hey, after I get this money, I can erase all my history and everything will be okay. No, life doesn't work like that. You do not get to pick your consequences after you do something. Let me repeat. You don't get to pick your consequences after you do something. You have a digital footprint. It's going to be around forever. You might want to say, hey, well, you know what? In my 20s, in my early 30s, I decided to do this. And now when I'm 40 and 50, I want to settle down. That's going to haunt you for the rest of your life. See, people don't think long term, right? They think short term. So I have no pity or no feeling for a woman that decided to do something and now she's going to blame OnlyFans. Why are you blaming OnlyFans for doing it? You decided to log in. You decided to create a password. You decided to set the cameras up. You decided all these things. You decided to answer the your messages. You decided to answer your DM. You decided to meet the person. You actually decided. So where's the accountability? That should be the word of the year, accountability. But let's continue.
And ultimately they have to pay a lot of money to remove the content potentially. So what I'm saying is I've seen it from your side of the narrative. You took the opportunity, but I've also seen it from these women are hurt, soulless, can't have relationships.
Okay, well, one, I've never had that scenario. No woman who's ever worked for me has complained. But two,
facts.
Are you saying that women regret their decisions and blame somebody else? Because if that's what you're saying, that's extremely misogynistic. And a misogynistic person would say they do that with everything, not just a career choice. They do that with nearly every decision a female ever makes. She blames somebody else for, and then she doesn't want to take responsibility for. Right. In fact, a misogynistic person would say that there's memes on the internet about women not taking accountability for their own decisions. If you're telling me that a woman started an OnlyFans, made enough money to buy a big fat BMW and a big house, made loads of money, got rich, spent the money, had a great time, and then as time went on, grew older and she couldn't sell anymore, and then got annoyed and then wanted it all to go away and then blamed somebody else for it. That's a very interesting conversation. But truthfully,
can we stop using the Pomodoro method? What if we did the Sitzfleisch method?
I agree with him. At a point, right? When are you going to point the finger at yourself? At a point.
You have to make a decision now as a society. And the decision is this. If we live in a patriarchal society where men are in charge and women need to obey their husbands or their fathers, then we can sit and say women can't make their own decisions. So we have to protect them. Women are not smart enough to make their own decisions because every decision they make, they were tricked into. Therefore, as their father/husband, I am responsible for their decisions. Right. Or do we live in a society like the current one where we say women are just as smart as men and they're sovereign individuals and they can make their own choices? If that's the case,
I think that we live in a society where they think that we're equal. And that's their downfall. That's their downfall. They think that we're equal. Oh, you could do what he do. You could do what he do because if you could do it, I could do it too. It doesn't work like that. We're different species. We have different biologies. We think different. We will be viewed differently. So when a woman tell you, well, if you do something, I'm gonna do it too. Let her go. It's no point. She don't get it yet. And I look at it like this. Most of these women, they're looking for a father figure. You missed that. You're literally looking for a father figure, and that's not going to happen. You have to be confident in yourself. You have to be accountable for your actions, right? You can't be a child and expect adult results. But let's continue.
You cannot have it both ways where women make their own choices,
right,
make their own decisions, live their own lives. And the second they regret something, they retrospectively go back and remove consent for the decision that they made.
Right.
That is bullshit. I'm telling you that is a bullshit version of reality where women are going to sit and say, I did it all, but now Mia Khalifa just did it. She slept with 1,000 men and tried to blame her boss.
What?
It's bullshit. Now, I'm not even in that scenario because all the women who work for me are thankful and they're millionaires and they've retired. They've all defended me in this case. I'm just talking as a professional. If a woman's going to do something and make a bunch of money and then complain later and say that she was tricked, let me ask you, if a man said that to you, I did this and I made all this money, but now I regret it. I think he fooled me. Would you feel sorry for him or would you think he's a dickhead?
No.
Be honest.
I think a man's responsibility is always everything's
all right. So you'd say it's you're an idiot. It was your choice.
Yeah.
Right. But do you think men and women are equal?
In what sense?
No. Are men and women equal?
Yes or no?
Are men smarter than women?
Frankie? Yes or no? Because this is where I go left.
Well, the position is very simple. You either believe men are better than women, and that's why you hold men more accountable.
Andrew, you know why he can't answer that question? Conflicting interests. He has a business that caters to women. A removal business, an image removal consultant business that remove everything that they have done from the internet. So if he say, hey, I believe that men are equal to women or women are equal to man, he will lose, or they're not equal to man, he will lose a lot of clientele. Because his business, to me, he has to ponder. He has to ponder to women. He has to ponder to equality. he has to ponder to feminism, because that's part of his module. This is how this man get paid. Frankie, this is how you get paid. But see, you got to pick a side, Frankie. You're using a side, but I know that you have common sense. But yet, your reputation seems to me that you do anything for the money, the money on. So let's see what he say.
Accountable, or you believe men and women are equal, and you hold women to the same accountability you hold men. Most people in the world we live in today, because society operates on a double standard, are living in a double standard where they're going to sit there and say women can drive, women are just as good as men, women are smart, and women are sovereign, and women make their own decisions. But the same second a woman says she regrets her own decision, she was forced into it, they buy it. You have to make a choice. This is a logic fail. This is a logic fail. And I'm not talking about this because it's OnlyFans. I don't give a shit about OnlyFans. I'm just sitting here saying that if a woman makes a decision as an adult, it's her decision, because I respect women. What I'm actually saying is I respect women enough to say that she made the choice.
What you're trying to say is you can't have it both ways. So you can't say that you want to have the responsibility and want to have all this other stuff and want to have all these choices, but then not say that you're responsible for taking part in only.
Well, 100% you can't. You can't say I want to make my own decisions. I want to make my own choices. I decide my body, my choice. I decide who I date. I decide if I have kids. I decide where I go. I decide my worldview. I decide everything. I'm as smart as man. In fact, I'm smarter than men. Men are stupid. Men are trash. We don't need men. Feminism, girl power. We can beat men up. We're stronger than men. Oh my God.
This is the mentality of the modern woman. He ain't saying nothing wrong. Nothing wrong as if they're in competition with men. It won't ever work. You're not designed to be in competition with us. Perhaps y'all need to be in competition with each other. Maybe that'd be your best bet.
A man told me to do something and I did it because he has magical powers over my brain and I'm an idiot. None of this makes even logical sense.
But here's where we have to draw the line, right, Andrew? Because
oh God,
let's just say I've talked to 100 women on this topic. I've talked to a lot more, but let's just say it's 100.
Yep.
Let's just put it as 100. Let's just say 10 of them come to me with that argument, right? At least one of the 10. Well, so let's just say 7 of the 10 it was their choice. They made the wrong choice. It's their fault. They've got to live with it. We can agree on that, right? But what about the 3 of the 10 that were, say, coerced into doing it or forced into doing it? Or there are.
And this is where you went wrong. Talk about the majority, not the minority. Talk about the majority, the mass. Don't talk about the minority, because that's where you lost me at. You got to solve for the problem. Talk about the majority. Not, oh, it's one person that, and I'm not discrediting that 1 or 2 or 3 people that things happen to in XYZ, but we're talking about the majority of people that free willingly did these things, right? The majority of people. So now you're trying to switch up and move the goalposts. Let's continue.
There have to be women inside the 100 that were forced into doing it, right?
Well, coercion is very subjective.
Facts.
So coercion is going to be a hard one to answer. Forced, 100% is wrong. But forced is beaten up and put on a camera. So forced we can agree on. Any man who forces a woman,
right, not with,
is a bad man.
What I'm saying is, out of the 100, let's just say the numbers are 100.
No, I know what you're saying. What I'm saying is that when you use a word like coercion and you're asking me a question, for me to be a professional, we need to quantify coercion. That's what I'm saying. Is it coercion to say to a woman, you can make a whole bunch of money on OnlyFans. I'll make sure you make a whole bunch of money. I'll help you make a whole bunch of money. I know how to make you famous and rich. Is that coercion?
But I'm not saying you specifically.
I'm not talking about me.
I'm talking about the narrative.
I'm not talking about me. I'm not talking.
Listen to this.
He's talking about a narrative. He's talking about a narrative as well. See, so Frankie, he got you back in the corner right now, Frankie. You might not want to say much, but see, your business actually caters to this thing. So you don't know if you should speak upon your business or you should keep this personal. And that's what it is. But this is about business and personal. Let's continue.
About me. I'm asking for you to quantify coercion.
Coercion is them saying, hey, I was forced to do this against my will.
Okay. Who that forced? All these words you're using are buzzwords that females use to remove accountability. I'm asking you to quantify them. How were they forced against their will? Were they beaten up? Was a gun to their head?
I don't know. I don't press down that narrative.
All right. Well, I assume a gun wasn't to their head. because it's hard to do OnlyFans at knife point. So I assume that they were forced via coercion. I'm asking, what is coercion? Is coercion saying you'll get rich and famous, I'll help you? Is that coercion?
On your narrative, yeah, I understand.
Well, it's not about my narrative. It's not about me. It's not about my case. I'm innocent of my case. My case is about to be thrown out. I'm asking, is that coercion? Because your women will use words like force and coercion. And unless you pressure them and put down as a professional, what does that mean? Because what they'll say is, oh, I was coerced.
Basically, they willingly did it. They're going to say, this happened to me, this happened to me. They're going to play the victim. Well, this is what happened to me, and he did this to me. No, man. You allowed all these things to happen to you because you were with it. Slow down, breathe, tell the truth. You were with it. Now, guilt starts to creep up. The money starts getting dry. So now you have to say, hell, how do I get out of this? So you begin to you become liar. Because that's the only way that you can matriculate the situation. That is the only way, once again, that you can matriculate the situation and you can put the heat off of you when you should have said as a person, you know what? I did it. I wanted to do it. Even if I was persuaded to do it, I still have the right to say yes or no, confirmed or canceled. You had a choice. So 90% of these women have a choice to be this type of way, and they choose to be this way. They just don't want the negativity that comes with it. And as an adult, you can't have the good without the bad, right? So you have to sleep in the bed that you have made. Just make sure you make the bed up every day, because that'd be your best scenario, your best case.
First, because he suggested it. Oh, that's coercion. So if I say to you, we should do heroin, should I coerce you to do heroin? If you take heroin and become a junkie, is it my fault? Should I go to jail? Am I responsible for the fact that I mentioned heroin around you and you did heroin?
So
another thought experiment. How does a traditional job make you go and work? Because they don't force you. If you work at McDonald's, do they come and pick you up at knife point? Do they force you? No, but they convince you. They coerce you.
But you know how coercion happens in that scenario. The coercion happens because you got the mortgage, you got the family. That's the coercion in that.
Frankie, choose your next words carefully, because now you're pandering. You're pandering. So I see how you get all your views and everything else. You can't tell the truth. You got to pander to woman in order to get your views. I get it. You're see-through. I get it. Let's get it.
So you're saying that McDonald's coerces people to work there. It says that if you come and give up your life, you can get a meager wage and stand here and get £8 an hour. And they coerce you with a meager wage and a uniform, but the guarantee is that the wage will arrive on time. So McDonald's coerces people to go to work. So what does coercion even mean? What I'm saying is that certain words, buzzwords, can be used and weaponized by females to destroy accountability. As soon as you apply it to the sex industry, betas and white knights will jump to the defense because they don't want to think logically. I'm saying that because I treat men and women equally, because I am actually not a misogynist and I respect women, I'm saying that if a man sat to me and said I was forced to do something, I would expect knife point or gun. What do you mean forced?
Yeah.
If he said, oh, he suggested it, but I did it, I'd say, well, then you're a fucking idiot. And because I hold men and women in the same regard, because I am not a misogynist, it would be foolish of me to not hold the same standards for women. You're sitting there saying that women were forced and coerced. And I'm
potentially.
And I'm asking you to ask those women how they were forced and coerced.
If you own a gun, then just buying concealed carry insurance.
He cornered this man. He cornered him because, once again, he caught him red-handed pandering. Can't pander to women and expect for you to have the best result, especially if you're a man. Like, come on now. You look like a beta male. Well, let's continue.
First, because if you push down on the issue and you're not afraid to say what the truth is of what you think, you will see that nobody forced them to do anything. Yeah. And they weren't coerced into anything.
You're saying that's their creative narrative.
Well, absolutely it is. How do you force someone to make How was Mia Khalifa forced?
Is there no one that you know that's ever been forced in the sex industry to do the things that they've done?
Well, I think the thing that's interesting is that you said that men are completely responsible for all the good and bad things that happen to them. But it seems like you don't believe the same for women, which makes you a misogynist. Do you look down?
A misogynist in what respect?
Do you look down on women?
No.
Okay, so they're responsible for everything good and bad that happens to them, no?
Obviously they are.
Oh, there you go. That's your answer.
Bing, 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 bing. Point proven. Point proven. Point proven. If you want to be accountable for your action, if you want to be equal, right, then why aren't you accountable for your action and your consequences too? So you can be accountable for your action, but not your consequences. That's a great point. Oh, when it's all good. Oh, it's all good. It's all good. Everything fine. Everything nice. Everything right. But when it's bad, my God. Can you say evade, avoid, is not me, victim? I don't know what I was thinking. He forced me. But yet you created a password. You logged in on your own. You decided to do these things that may have not been in your best interest in the long term. Just live with it. Just live with it, ladies. Live with it. It's okay. It's going to be okay. But just know that every action equal or opposite reaction. And you don't get to pick the consequences. That's it. Let's continue. I'm going to do a couple more minutes of this, and then I'm going to do a part 3 and cover the last 30 minutes. It's an hour and a half interview. I did 30 minutes last time. I'm going to do 30 minutes this time. And then I'm going to do the last part 3 tomorrow. So
I'm saying that if Mia Khalifa wants to go and sleep with 1,000 men, for her to blame her male boss or the porn producer or any man she can point her fingers at and say it's nothing to do with her when she was running around spreading her legs, I think it's bullshit. I personally think that's bullshit.
So men and women on this planet should both have full responsibility for any actions that they take.
Well, here's the interesting conversation. Because the interesting conversation is for you to give responsibility over yourself to somebody else, you need to give them authority over you. I'm responsible for my children and I'm responsible for their safety, which means I have authority over my children. I can tell my children what to do.
Right.
I can tell my children to be quiet, shut up, don't put your finger in the plug socket, eat healthy, don't eat candy, because I am responsible for them. I can't be responsible for a child that doesn't listen. So as a woman, perhaps you can make a choice, or a man. You can decide that you don't want to be responsible for your own life. But to do that, you then have to hand your authority to someone else. Traditionally, before feminism, a woman would hand authority to her husband so she wasn't responsible for herself. If you're not going to hand authority to somebody, or you can.
And I think that's the problem that we have today. They don't want to hand over authority to a real man because they feel like, oh, now I can't do nothing. I can't do this. I can't do that. I can't go get a career. I can't do this. I can't. Does any of those things actually really matter in this world? Like, your best bet is to find a successful man and attach yourself to him and be very feminine. That's your best bet. That, like, ladies, you have it easy. Literally, all you have to do is find a man and stick by that man and add value to him in every shape, way, or form, and listen and be willing to learn and be willing to get uncomfortable and comfortable at the same time. Be willing to get led. Give your life over. If not, it's never going to work. Become his best employee. If not, it's never going to work. Okay, you want to be your own boss chick. Okay. Well, let's see how long that lasts. Let's see how long it lasts. You want to be a boss. You want to be career driven. Let's just see how long it lasts. Why do you think the traditional way worked? And why do you think the new way that we're having now doesn't work? It's a reason. It's the season. It's the reason. It's in the method. It's in the psychology of it all. That's how it's built. It's concrete. It's in the creation of it. So the modern way of doing things, to me, will never, ever, ever work. I don't care how good it make you feel, how liberated you think you may be, how independent you think you may be, how bossed up you think you may be. All these things really doesn't matter to men. That's just the bottom of the line. It doesn't matter. Your accomplishment never really mattered. It's not going to matter. Can you listen? Can you learn? Can you follow directions? If I say do this on this day at this time, can you do it? Along with being a woman too at the same time, being soft, friendly to your man, not to anyone else. Don't try to be like him. Try to help him in every way possible, shape, or form. So you can be the beneficiary. That's the point. If you don't want to be that, then what's the point? Leave your thoughts down below. I really want to know what you thought about this one.
Can't find somebody you trust enough to give authority to, then you can't hand a responsibility to anyone else.
Right.
So what I'm saying is, if you're a woman and you don't want to be responsible for all your own choices, you need to hand authority to somebody you trust. You can't go through life and say, I'm autonomous. Nobody has authority over me. I don't listen to no man. And then blame men when something happens that you decided to do.
I had no idea my old ad blocker was installing malware.
He ain't never lie. Facts. This man he didn't lie. That's exactly how it should be.
But you got to understand, Andrew, as a business, when someone's coming to you as a client, it's not up to us to have the opinion on whether they're right or they're wrong.
No, you take their money.
We do business, we take their money and we remove content. That's what we do.
That's fine.
Okay.
As a business.
My
personal opinion is like everyone's responsible for the actions that they take in the world.
I understand.
I understand that. But as a business, when they're telling their own narrative, we've just got to listen.
I completely understand all of that. What I'm saying is coerced is an overused and misunderstood word.
Facts.
Force is not even true.
Facts.
These are all subjective things that there's no true measurement of.
And what did I tell you guys? He's trying to protect his business. So you're having a personal conversation on this platform, which is the interview, because interview is typically personal. You're having a personal conversation. This is not a business meeting, right? You're having a general conversation with someone. So you're supposed to talk in general. You went specifically to try to prove your point that, hey, my business does this and we cater to women and we cater to this, so I can't say much. Well, why did you bring the thing up? To an educated man, a sophisticated one like Andrew, you shouldn't have did that. You put yourself in the corner. Now look at your Brandon now. Brandon? Oh, should I say Frankie Lee?
Here's the thing that's so interesting. We can't measure everything. Coerced is almost immeasurable.
Right.
I was coerced. Why? Well, he suggested it. Well, why did you listen to a suggestion? Well, I respected him and he paid the rent. So you had no choice. Well, I did have a choice. I could have left. Gone where? Where I had nowhere to go. Where's the line? It's all subjective.
Where is the line?
Well, this is it. It's different every fucking time. It's different in every single scenario.
But if you had to put it,
I can't. There is no. You can't just draw a line. But this is my exact point. My point is that as a society as a whole, we need to make a choice.
Let's do this.
Are women individualistic? Are women autonomous? Are women making their own decisions? Or are women listening to their fathers? Because if we choose fathers, all of these porn stars go away. If we choose individuals, then all of the coercion goes away. Let's make a choice. And
listen to that. That was very important right there. If you choose fathers, because one of the number one problems that we actually have in the world is fatherless homes. You can look it up yourself. That's one of the number one problems, because the life decision, the things that you're programming that you need, you got to go to the root of things. So if your dad wasn't there, let me tell you something. You didn't have a nuclear family and an important structure, right? You would be misguided. You would be tricked in this world. You won't know what to do, because and your soul was so long will be longing for that. So now you're looking at everybody as if, well, that's my dad. 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 Because a piece of you is missing. A piece of you is missing. Now, some people can say, well, my dad wasn't there because of this, but 9 times out of 10, your dad probably loved you. Your dad wasn't there because of your mom. 9 times out of 10. Because 9 times out of 10, when a guy have a child, he's going to try to be in their life, unless he's met with an equal or opposite force, which then a modern woman become a man, and now he has to do what's best for him. You get it? So most people are suffering from trauma. growing up. Get that healed before you get into a relationship, or before you try to build, or before you try to do anything along that nature. Unlearn to relearn, because that's the only way. A man shouldn't have to inherit your problem that you've been going through based on childhood, when we have plenty more problems that we have to solve. So why not come with a clean slate? Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas, huh? That's all I'm saying. But let's continue.
Where's the line? That it's all
Well,
subjective.
where is the line?
Well, this is it. It's different every fucking time. It's different in every single scenario.
But if you had to put it, if you
well,
had to
no,
put a
no,
line
I
down-
can't. There is no. You can't just draw a line. But this is my exact point. My point is that as a society as a whole, we need to make a choice.
Let's do this.
Are women individualistic? Are women autonomous? Are women making their own decisions? Or are women listening to their fathers? Because if we choose fathers, all of these porn stars go away. If we choose individuals, then all of the coercion goes away.
Right.
Let's make a choice and let's just end it. That's the bottom line. If we're going to live in between the
So I'm gonna end it on that note. Let me know your choice in the comments. I appreciate everyone for stopping by. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, tell a friend to tell a friend. This is the beginning, this is not the end. Share the video, hit the link down below that I pinned to the top of the chat. AirTech EMF technology, protect your loved ones. Hanukkah coming up, Christmas is around the corner. Get something that's actually beneficial to your family dynamics, or your friends, your loved ones, your significant other, anything along that nature, right? Get it. On that note, peace, blessings, and love. And like I always say, remember, positive